Good morning. I am with Victor Ceniceros. He is currently enrolled in Mesa College, and his major is psychology. So, what is your place of birth, Victor?
I was born in Tijuana, Mexico.
Okay, and how old were you when you came to the United States?
I was about 4 or 5 years old when I came to the U.S.
Okay, and do you remember how did you come here? What did your family do to get into the United States? Was it easy? Was it hard?
It was actually easy. We came with visas, passports. We had everything, all the paperwork. The one thing is that we just overstayed. So we came legally, but we just unfortunately overstayed.
Okay, and so you overstayed and you were an undocumented student in elementary school and high school. Did you encounter any problems or barriers?
Not at first. The only things that I did realize was that my parents wouldn't, or my dad wouldn't let me go to LA. Like, let's say, for instance, someone invited me to Disneyland, which is in Los Angeles. So my dad was like, no, you can't go. And I'm like, well, why not? And he's like, I don't know, I just don't want you to go. And he didn't want to tell me yet until high school is when I found out about the whole situation. And it made a whole lot of sense as to why he didn't let me go.
Oh, okay. And how did you learn about the DREAM Act or the DACA program?
I heard about it because my brother, so I'm the baby of 3. My brother's the oldest, and I have a sister who's a middle child. And when my brother was trying to go to college, they were telling him, oh, you need a social security number, you need to have, all these other things. And we didn't have anything, so my brother was like, well, what am I going to do? And then finally we heard that Obama passed the DREAM Act, and my dad told us, oh, you guys are still able to keep going to school because of this, the DREAM Act, and I heard about it on the news, and it became true. So my brother was the first one to apply, and then he ended up getting a social security number and a work permit. So we pretty much found out because of my brother.
Okay, great. And so you decided to enroll because you wanted to go to college to get higher education, right?
Of course, yes.
Okay, but how was the process of enrolling? Easy, hard, what do you have to do?
It was a little bit of both. It was a little difficult, but it was also kind of easy. Only because I did have a lot of guidance. So I had a lot of counselors that told me, oh, this is what you need to do in order to enroll, and this is what you need. So once they told me what I needed, I got all the stuff that I needed together. And then the only hard part was finding out that when I enroll, I have to pay. I didn't know I had to pay $20 for the health fee, I believe. And then I have a hold on my account because I have to show proof that I graduated from high school. Only because the system knows that, I guess they know that I'm undocumented. So I had to show proof that I went to high school and I graduated. So I had to send in my transcript. So that took a while because, there's only one person here that I know of that can help with that. So it took me a while. So
the high school, they weren't giving you your certificate because you were undocumented?
They did. It was just coming here and meeting with that one person. They had certain hours, they were only here for from 8 to 2 p.m. and I would get here around 3 to 4 because at the time I was living in San Diego, downtown. I lived in Barrio Logan, so it was kind of hard for me to get here on time and early. So I couldn't meet with the person that I needed to.
Okay, so you receive full support from your family, I guess, when you enroll in the DACA program. So you have to write your parents' name. Do they have papers?
No, my dad doesn't. He doesn't have anything.
Okay, what about your mother?
She passed away when I was 4.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And so what is the outcome? What did you expect to get from being enrolled in the program and being able to study? Future-wise?
I just wanted to keep getting the highest education possible. The only reason why is because I was just tired of seeing, my dad struggle and seeing how he was struggling. So I just wanted to be able to not only support myself, but my dad as well, since he's been doing a lot for us, and he's pretty much the reason why I'm here. So.
Okay, that's very good. During his campaign, Donald Trump said that on his first day in office, he would end DACA. So November 9, it was announced that he had won the elections. What were your feelings that day?
I couldn't believe it. It felt like a dream. I didn't know what to believe. I was like this can't be real. This can't happen. But then the next 2 days, I was like, oh, wait, this is real. Like, it's actually, he's president now. So I was just scared for my dad, for my family and my dad, if anything. I just didn't know what I was going to do and what was going to happen. So I was very unsure, and I don't know I was just like, what am I going to do now? It was the question I kept asking myself.
So do you have any other plan in case the government does decide to end this program?
Just keep going as far as I can and keep doing as much as I can until the last day. And, if I do get sent back, just going to keep going until that day comes.
Okay, so DACA doesn't give you permit to travel for leisure outside of the United States. You can only travel if it's for work or education. Do you feel free?
Not really. Only because, since the government knows, okay, you're undocumented, I feel like they might ask me more questions. And you know how, in the border, they call it, segunda inspección?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like every time I go to the airport, I might get sent to that. And they're going to ask me a few more questions. So that's why I really don't like to travel. And if I do travel, it would be by car. So, I don't know, by car seems a little more safe rather than going through all that inspection, having to go through all that process of going on an airplane.
But that's if you travel outside of the United States or within the United States?
Within the U.S.
Okay, and what about traveling outside the United States?
I don't know. I don't think I ever will.
Okay. Were you aware that Senator Ricardo Lara wants to offer the Dreamers additional protection should DACA go away? This is the senator for San Diego. So he passed this year a bill that would help undocumented students not covered by DACA and attending a community college, CSU or UC, to fee waivers, reimbursement, grants, or in exchange of doing volunteer hours. So do you think that's helpful, or it doesn't really make for the fact that you're not going to have your papers?
I think that's very helpful. Reason why is because I know a lot of students, or I've met a few students who are also undocumented, and they're not able to get some of the services I get, like EOPS, that helps for school and all that. They help me pay for books. They also at the end of the year or the semester, if there's any money left over, they reimburse it to the students. So that's just kind of extra money for me, and I've saved that. And I mean, that would be very helpful. And the reason why is because a lot of us, we have to not only help our parents pay rent if it comes to that point, but if we have siblings, we have to help them out and make sure that they're not falling out of school and dropping out. But we also have to be able to have a roof over our head, food on the table, and being able to live a quote unquote normal life.
So what did your father used to do in Tijuana before coming to the United States?
He used to work at a bank. I want to say as an accountant, I believe, because he would always talk about this bank in TJ. It's I want to say Calle Primera or something like that.
Okay.
And he has pictures of it, and he showed it to us. But that's what he used to do in TJ.
Okay, so he is an accountant. He has a career. Why did he decide to come to the United States?
From what he's told me and what I've heard is that the reason why we came to the U.S. Was because one of my uncles told us that they were going to open up a business, a family business, and we were all going to be working together as a family. But once we got over here, I guess nothing happened, absolutely nothing went on, or the plans didn't even follow through or anything, so we were just kind of stuck. And
okay.
That's from what my dad's told me. I don't know what else really happened, so.
Okay. Well, I guess that we only have 10 minutes. So Trump has stated during his campaign that only people who were against the law, or only rapists, or the worst of Mexico are the people coming to the United States. What are your feelings about that? What do you think about that?
That's 100% not even true, because ever since we've been here, my dad has been working, maybe I want to say two jobs at a time, just to make sure that he has enough money to support us, because he had to take care of three kids, and we've been living with family. We'd always been living with family. Friends have been helping and supporting us, and not only that, he's also taught us like what it's like to be very humble, what it's like to ask for help when needed to, and we honestly don't even get in trouble at all. Like if we do anything, it's like we just get yelled at. That's probably the most worst thing we can think of. But honestly, like we've never done anything to the point where like we want to like kill somebody or want to like rob somebody. We've never gotten to that point because of the family and the environment we've been around. And everything our dad has told us is like, oh, it's starting to come true. Like, you gotta work hard to make sure you maintain a normal life. Make sure that you're able to support yourself, and if you have a family coming, make sure you're able to support them. So basically, like, I started working since I was like a junior in high school. So like we've never really gotten into any trouble with the law at all, whatsoever. We always do the right thing when we're supposed to. And we've stayed away from like the gangs and the violence, and we're trying to stay away from that because we already have like a target on our back in a way. So we're just trying to be the most perfect citizens in a way as possible.
Okay, so you mentioned gangs and that you used to live in Barrio Logan, which in San Diego it was cataloged like a dangerous vicinity or something. So when you were little, you still didn't know that you were undocumented or anything. How was it? Like, how did you manage to stay away, or was it like just never in your horizon? What can you tell me about that?
So when I started like learning about it, I stayed away through it because I play baseball, and that's pretty much what's kept me away from it. Every weekend we would have games, and throughout the week I have practice, so that would kind of get me away from like the neighborhood, and I got to see and explore like other neighborhoods that are like a little more how can you say safe in a way. Since that area it is a low income area, I've been to areas that are like that have a lot of families that are doing well, that are well off, like middle class, rich people, and it just, I got to see kind of like what it's like to see different parts of social class. So that also helped me, but I think mostly it was baseball that helped me stay away from that. And not only that, I saw some of my friends growing up and they joined the gangs, and just seeing how they can't even walk down the street and having to look over their shoulder like constantly and they can't even enjoy some parts of San Diego because of certain areas and like certain gangs here and there. So they can't even go to an area because they might get shot and killed in front of their families because, that's what it is. But yeah, and also because, I saw my brother, he was doing great in baseball and he was getting opportunities, and I was like, you know what, I want to be just like that too. And I don't want to do it. I don't want to be a part of that because I couldn't see myself in that.
And also, you talk about family, how you always have lived with family, and how you have always supported each other. So, do you see that often in families from Mexican origin? Is that a common? And what are your thoughts about that? Do you think that helps being like a better person, or?
Yeah, of course. Being a family, it helps a lot. You get to make great memories with them. It helps you like talk about certain things that you don't really want to talk about with like friends or anybody that you know. Only because family, you can get very personal with them, and it's just they always show love and support to you. So if do you tell them about like a certain business, like, oh hey, I'm starting a new business, they're all in. They'll be willing to support you. Be like, hey, how much you selling a t-shirt for? I'll buy one off for you right now, even if you haven't even started. Mm-hmm. And it's just family. It's just a great thing. Like if I'm having a bad day or anything, I call them up and be like, hey, like, how are you doing? Just hearing the voice, just knowing that they're still there. And then you start talking a little bit and like, oh yeah, I'm doing pretty good. And then they're like, hey, just before we hang up, we're always like, hey, just if you ever have an opportunity to see us, like come visit us sometime, or we'll go visit you. But just know we love you and support you no matter what. And whatever happens, just let us know if you need help. So just knowing that they're there for me is a lot of help and support.
Okay, so everyone was supportive of you guys, you and your brothers, enrolling in the DACA program.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's say that the program continues, and you still have to renew like every 2 years. I understand. So, do you think that's a hustle, or is it easy? Is it easy to renew? Have you already gone into the point that you had to renew, or not yet?
I've renewed it. I've already renewed it once, and it is a hustle because not only do you have to renew it every 2 years, you have to do it at least 5 months in advance. But they say 5 to 6, just to make sure. And you also have to pay $500 because it's not free. You have to pay $500 plus the lawyer that's helping you, which is another $1,000 or $1,500, whatever they want. So you could be paying close to like $2,000 just to get your papers, just to get your work permit renewed, which is what a lot of people don't think. A lot of people think that it's free, but it's not free. And on top of that, we still gotta pay taxes. We still gotta pay, if you have a car, you gotta pay for, your whatever fees come with that. You have to get your license, and then you have to pay gas. You have to pay. We still gotta pay. So, having to renew it is definitely a hustle. Cause on top of having to renew it, the $500 plus whatever the lawyer wants, plus rent and other bills, is another thing that we have to consider as well. So. Sometimes some people have to get 2 jobs just to be able to maintain both.
Okay, yeah, that is pretty pricey. So how much does a lawyer charge you?
For me, he charged me about $1,000, so I had to pay a total of 15. I want to say, 15 to 1,000. That was the range I had to pay. So that's when family came in, and I told everyone like, hey, do you guys is there a way you guys can help me in having to renew my work permit? And everyone said, yeah, absolutely. How can I send it to you? Do you want me to send you a check, cash? You ever heard of the Venmo app or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
They said that. I don't know how to use that, so I stayed away from that. But yeah, they all came in, supported me, and I was able to make the money. And I was also working at the time, so everything I was making, I was saving up. And everyone just came in and helped me out.
So do you think this DACA program, would it exclude someone with a lower income, like even lower than yours?
Could they exclude it?
Yeah, what do you think about them being excluded because they don't have enough money to pay for the fees?
Yeah, that's another thing. It's very hard because, we were barely able to renew mine, so I could just imagine if someone can't even make $1,000 within a certain time frame, it's gonna suck because they're not gonna be able to work and support their family. They're gonna end up losing because they have to pay rent within the next month, and they're gonna not have enough. Then they're not gonna have a place to live. So it's gonna be a harsh life if you can't renew your work permit. And also there's some lawyers that say, oh yeah, we're here to help you. But yeah, they still charge us $1,000 or something dollars, and it's just well, if you're gonna help me, at least give me some time, help me do my paperwork, and I'm gonna pay you, because that's what we've told my lawyer. But he's like, no, I want the money first, and it's kind of iffy and it's kind of risky, because if you pay him, he might just be like, oh, I got my money, I don't really have to do anything anymore, because I already got what I needed. So it's kind of he could take his time and do all the paperwork and be like, yeah, I've sent your paperwork in if you ask him, but. It's just that $500 it's just a lot. It just seems too much to me, because like I mentioned, you're not only gonna pay for the process to renew it, but you're also gonna pay the lawyer, and then you gotta pay your rent. Like I said, you gotta pay your rent, and you gotta pay groceries, the gas, or whatever you need to do, and it's just too much. So those $500 is, if there's another way to kind of make that a little less, or have it, hopefully everyone dreams that it's free, but here nothing's free here. So if it can be less than that, that'd be a lot easier for us.
Okay, so maybe you'll graduate and you get a great job where you can pay for yours and maybe someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be a great idea. And so going back to your family and what your dad used to do, and he came here because he wanted to put a business. What about putting a business right now? Have you ever thought about it?
No, we haven't thought about that anymore. We just moved on from that. We were just you know what, if there's an opportunity that comes up, just take it. As long as you have, my dad always told me, as long as you have your work permit, and you have an opportunity to keep working, just keep working. If you have to get 2 jobs, you know, take the 2 jobs. But he was like, you know, we just kind of forgot about it. We just don't want to deal with that anymore. We don't want to go through that phase anymore. We've already been through it, so we're just moved on, and we're just trying to live our life as normal as possible and just, you know, keep going.
Okay, what does your father do here for a living?
He does landscaping, he does painting, he does a little bit of construction, but he's mostly a painter.
Oh, okay. Great. So that's how he was able to support you guys, and that's how he got you through school. Well, he did a very good job. You must be very proud.
Oh, yeah. Very proud.
Okay. And so were the program to end and you having to go back to Mexico, like, what do you think? How do you think you would be impacted, you and your family?
Well, the one thing would be impacted is our Spanish. It's not the greatest. I mean, I fully understand Spanish. I can speak it somewhat, but I tend to kind of stop and think about how to say it. Reading it, I can't read it that well. Writing it, I can barely write it. I'm not that well at writing Spanish, but I practice it as much as I can. So I practice writing as much as I can, and I mean, my dad I think he would be fine out there because, you know, he knows Spanish is the best than my brother, my sister, and myself. So I think he would be able to find a job quicker. Another thing is he also speaks a little English, so that would help him out. But I guess just trying to get used to the culture of Mexico and the way life is like out there. It will be kind of tough out there because we don't know what the resources are. We don't know like what we can do, like job wise. We don't know where we would live, but I'm guessing, you know, hopefully family out there can help us. And I mean, just having to go from everything in English to everything in Spanish, and then not knowing certain words or phrases will also impact us a lot.
Okay, yeah, because they say that you managed to graduate from psychology and you go to practice there. I mean, you get sent back there into practice, so I can see how that would be hard. Well, I think that pretty much covers everything. If I have any further questions, I'm going to continue. Thank you very much, Victor, for being with us today.
Thank you.
Anything else you would like to add to your experience?
To my experience?
Yeah, like through all this process, DACA, everything.
Oh, I mean, it's just...
Like, what would you say to lawmakers?
I would just say, I mean, like everyone says, like, you know, if you gotta experience it yourself. You gotta literally try going at least 2 weeks of what it's like to be undocumented, and live your life for 2 weeks of what that is like. And not only that, try to go through the process of trying to renew your work permit, pay your bills, pay rent, and go through all that, all the bills that you need to pay. Go through that, and then just see what life is really like being undocumented, because you can't fully understand something until you fully experience it yourself. Like, it's like the saying, it's easier said than done. Like, I can say, oh, I'm gonna be a billionaire, but it's gonna be hard for me to really do it. Or for instance, like if someone's like, oh yeah, I can be a better teacher than you, but they don't even really try, then it's easier said than done. So I would just say, honestly, try and live at least 2 weeks, or I'm just saying, like, at least 2 weeks of what it's like to be undocumented, and try to use the minimal resources that we have, and see how far you can get, and if you can even last 2 weeks. So
tell us a little bit about those 2 weeks of being undocumented. Like, what are some of the things that you, in comparison with someone who's legally here in the country, what are something that you can tell me that, oh, I know these do's and these don'ts?
The don't is, don't get caught by the law doing something you're not supposed to, like having some sort of weapon or, you know, drugs on you, because that will get you in a lot of trouble. Do's is just do what you're supposed to do as a citizen. Just be yourself, stay out of trouble. Don't go around telling people, oh, I'm undocumented, because you don't know what, you know, some people's intentions are. So just trust the people that you feel you trust the most, or you know the best. Trust them. try to get, I would say try to get a job that's like minimum wage, and then see how it goes from there. I mean, it would be a little process. I would have to think of it, but I mean, those are the little few things I could just say as of now.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I think we have everything, and thank you for joining us.